We're going to start with Matt Zipchen from Efficiency Capital. Matt is the president of Efficiency Capital. He holds a Bachelor of Commerce and Master of Public Policy. He has 2 decades of experience in net zero project development and investment, including energy efficiency, renewable energy, waste to energy, energy storage, and renewable ammonia. Over the past decade, Matt has earned Clean 15 and Clean 50 awards for developing alternative finance strategies for implementing net zero projects. And Matt will be presenting an overview of how to build a business case for energy retrofits. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to Matt.
Thank you, Josh, and welcome everyone today. Thank you for being here. If you want to start the presentation. I'm just going to quickly just touch base to make sure we're all on the same page of what actually a business case is, kind of the key components that you need to include in your business case, and I'll just give you a quick example just to set the stage for this conversation. Next slide, please. So what is a business case? Essentially, it's some sort of presentation or document where, it's for approval of making a decision to move forward. Often it's an investment decision. It's supposed to provide all the information needed for all the decision makers to really make that decision. And then it forms the basis under which that decision or that project or whatever that decision is going to be evaluated against going forward in the future. Quickly, just go back really quick. So just a couple key pieces that are really important. All business cases need to start with what's the goal? Whether you're doing a business case for a 30-year asset sustainability plan, trying to maximize your reserve and minimize your contributions, very different if you're building a business case to sell your building in 7 years, if you're an apartment building owner, for example. Next key piece is business as usual. All your options should be compared against the base case. So what would you do, or what would the future look like if you don't decide to do this project? And that creates, whether it's energy or your financial base case, that provides the comparison of which you evaluate all options. A bit of a funding plan, and then obviously the business plan also needs to say what are the risks, how do we manage them, what's the plan, and then tell a good story in terms of stakeholder engagement and communication. Next slide, please. Just really quickly, where does this fit in the process? So this process isn't actually always linear. It's just easier to look at it in a linear way. It tends to be a bit of an iterative process. But generally, you go through kind of, okay, what's the problem I'm trying to solve? What's the strategic goals? Let's gather a bunch of information, again, energy information, building information, financial information, who are the decision makers. Let's bring that all into building the business case. Go back a couple times if you want to do more scenarios. Make the decision, then implement the project. Next slide, please. So in doing the business case, as I mentioned, your strategic goal, your tactical goal, your operational goal is very important. Also important to set some metrics to compare against. So are you trying to, again, achieve a certain reserve level or reserve contribution or maintaining of it, or an energy reduction level? Also, I want to kind of match up with certain triggers. The business case is always more valuable if it's marginal to something you're already doing. So what do I mean by that? You already have an end-of-life major capital repair for some of your HVAC equipment. So there's certain capital you have to spend anyway. So really the options you're now looking at, your business as usual is I have to spend some money. The options now are kind of what's the additional or less that I'm spending. Whereas if you didn't have that end-of-life, then you have to take that full, it's not the marginal basis, it's the full investment. And that's always a little more difficult. That's just a financial trigger. Sometimes it could be more of a building physical trigger. Could be like occupancy change, tenancy change, things like that. But you always do kind of want to start your planning, recognizing that these events are coming up and are going to make your business case more valuable when it comes to energy retrofits. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is kind of what I call the features, benefits, values slide. If you're, if you ever gone to business school or you're a consumer buying a product, and kind of the left is the features of a retrofit, aspects of the envelope, the design, the mechanical, the electrical, the plumbing, and these all impact kind of, they'll have benefits for building performance, whether that is more comfortable, more warm, healthier air, better, happier tenants. And then kind of the values that brings. So reduced energy bills, financial values, obviously avoided capital costs. Those are really important. Those are the easiest to capture in your business case because they're just dollars and cents. But starting to include the non-monetary values, like what does it mean to actually have quieter fans in your hallway, or happier tenants, for example, or better access to finance, reduced carbon emissions. These are all kind of the non-monetary benefits that you want to at least include qualitatively if you can't value them in some way, but also very critical for your business plans because people tend to make decisions based on the value they get out of them. And that's not always, I mean, I can give you examples of deals that have been done on noise reduction in fans as opposed to the dollar cents of the energy savings. Next slide, please. So just a quick little example, and I use this example because I come back, I do another second presentation in this hour on kind of financial approaches and energy as a service stuff, and where I'll tell you about who we actually are. And so Wood Green, they had started with the strategic goal. They wanted to develop a 30-year sustainable asset management plan, looked at their reserves for the next 30 years, looked at their building condition assessments, build a capital plan over that time. They also had a bunch of end-of-life equipment. They had about just almost $2 million in end-of-life equipment. They only had about 1.3 million in the bank for reserves. And so they were looking for some financial partners to get that done. We partnered with them and actually identified some non-end-of-life measures, but kind of beyond half-life, but ones that technology had improved sufficiently where there was going to be energy savings. So we expanded the envelope of the investment from a $2 million project to about a 3.5. We put in the capital and did our turnkey retrofit solution, but we also stacked our capital when I'll get into more detail about how that works in the other presentation. So they were basically able to take what they had, a third of this project, stack other partners in, get it done, and then go through the change management practices that you have to go through to actually get it done successfully, whether that was expanding the capacity of their accounting team of how to actually account for this on an energy savings basis, whether that was training their operations team to now do more of a preventative maintenance approach. These are some of the implementation things that are also critical to the success of your business case and your investment decision.